Warning. The following may contain concepts, ideas, and/or reflections unique in nature and not yet approved by government and/or corporate entities. This content is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended to stimulate further reflection or to perpetuate additional discourse beyond the scope already outlined by institutional curriculum.
All right, happy Thursday. Let's get going. All right, today we're going to be talking about, or mainly I'm going to be talking about, and you're going to be just sitting there
Nodding.
with a dumb expression on your face. But we're going to be talking about computers and how they're actually getting worse. It's a non-popular take, but let's get into it. Roll the intro. All right. So I've been thinking about this situation for quite a while. You could chalk it down to small little frustrations here and there. But then you start compiling all these things together, and you start to see a macro pattern where things are technically on paper getting faster, better, quicker, more efficient. The screens are getting better, et cetera, et cetera. But in practical application, we're starting to see huge frustrations, things that should be functioning completely fine, not functioning at all.
So like hiccups in their program.
Yeah, glitches in the matrix. So what the impetus for this video is I was sitting in my bed watching some downhill like mountain biking video. And because it's like a high definition but also fast moving video, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, boy, does this ever look like shit. And I'm trying to figure out why does it look so bad? The first assumption is maybe that it's a problem with the camera. So I did some digging and just kind of my own little testing out on different devices and seeing if I could figure out what was happening. So before I show that one, because it's god awful, I'm gonna show just an example because I needed to see, like, I don't remember videos that are supposed to be HD looking this bad, and it's really bad. So I looked up. I didn't find older videos, but I did find a GoPro promotional video. So this is what the camera company is posting onto YouTube to advertise the quality of its camera. So they're not going to be doing.
You still have shares in GoPro?
Don't worry, it's not an endorsement for GoPro. But okay, so I'm gonna open up this first picture here. Now, this is it's fast moving. He's got the angle directed towards himself. But whenever there's fast movement and quick color changes, you get this type of shit, which is like blocky. Everything, you can't make out his face. That's not snow covering his face. That's distortion. This is an image distortion that's happening. And you're seeing like these huge, massive pixelated blocks. This isn't even 240K. This is like
about 1080
or 240p. Sorry, but like this is not even remotely close. It hurts my eyes to watch this type of stuff because you're getting this constant blocking that's happening. It can't handle fast moving images. So now it's not all the same because this video does have 4K. So here's just another example. This is at 1080p. And you can see the guy's face is like this block that's like bleeding into the snow. It's all pixelated. You can't really make out hardly anything. This entire scene, even the white snow, it can't even make a uniform color out of it. It just looks like utter shit. This is 1080p. This is what used to be considered high definition. It doesn't even look watchable in my mind. Now, if I change the settings to 4K, now suddenly it corrects the image. And you can see that, okay, this is you can clearly make out his face and everything like this. But this is like, you might have people going, well, yeah, it's 4K. 4K is supposed to be for very, very small pixels, not like 1 inch size of the screen being a block. This isn't like Minecraft here. This is like unwatchable shit at 1080p. So why is this happening? And it's not it can't be the camera, because at higher definitions it looks fine, right?
Yeah, but didn't somebody say that you can't? The thing that you're actually watching it on has to have the capability of processing. If it's in 4K, then...
So I'm not a tech guy, but I'm pretty sure what we're seeing is compression artifacting. But this artifacting is really bad. And I could stake a good-sized bet that there's no way that 10 years ago, when 1080p was the highest, or whatever it was, 15 years ago...
maybe 15.
When it was the highest resolution,
clarity,
there's no way that their 1080p on YouTube would have looked that bad, because you're not selling anything. Now, these other images are like super bad. I mean, these are supposed to be rocks or whatever. Everything is got like it just looks like a jarbled mess. It looks like a maybe a video game in the early 90s or something. It looks like just like this is supposed to be a high definition camera taking a mountain biking shot.
It's not quite the images you see when you walk into a TV shop and they got these.
I mean, look at this one,
going.
man. This one is utter. Like, look at this square right here. This square is like, not only is it blurred and blocky, but it's like you can see a direct line. In a sense, the pixel is like, it's like that big. Like it's, this is like a 10 pixel image, because you're really like, it's just blocking all this shit. Even the sky, even the blue sky, you can see like these blocky lines in the sky. Look at this line here. This is supposed to be a gradually light blue getting into darker blue sky. And you got this freaking line cutting through because it's so compressed or whatever that even a blue, it can't even render that image properly. This is supposed to be 1080p. It just looks like utter freaking garbage.
1080 or 4K?
No, 1080.
Okay.
If you go to, like, this video didn't have a higher resolution option, but 1080p should not look like this. And this is like all over the video. Almost any fast moving section is horrible. Like, look at these clouds. They're just blocky. They look like shit, right? So this might be, this is a small issue. We're just talking about, if you don't want to watch it on 4K. Well, I think there's two things to take away. One, either we're talking about a massive screw up at YouTube, where their compression algorithm or their new compression update is so horrible it cannot render videos properly with any action in the scene. The second is that they are purposely downgrading videos that are less than 4K just to make 4K look that much better, which is just a bunch of duplicitous crap.
Maybe
right?
they're trying to get the consumer to upgrade to 8K.
Well, because if you think about it, so if I watch 1080p and I go, man, this looks freaking great, and then I watch 4K and I go, I don't know, it looks the same, right? What's the chances I'm going to upgrade my TV? I'm going to upgrade my system. Anything? Why would I spend extra money if it doesn't look any better to me? Right?
Because you got a lot of money to spend.
Yeah, because I don't like money. I want to waste it. So, if that's what they're doing, doesn't really matter. Because here's the thing: if all these tech companies, and there's evidence of this happening. I mean, Apple has lost court cases because they basically, after a certain number of years, all their iPhones get downgraded. Microsoft, most of their operating systems, it's like nobody wants the new operating system. I think the last operating system that people actually wanted to get was like either Windows XP or Windows 7, in that range. Everything else, it was like, we don't want Windows 8. It's crap. We don't want Windows 9. It's shit. We don't want Windows 10. We don't want Windows 11. Nobody wants this new shit because it is shit. It doesn't operate. It's not simple. You know how many times?
Not user friendly.
Yeah, you know how many times because we purchased an old Samsung laptop for my mom simply because it's way easier to use. The icons it's way more streamlined. You click on it, it opens up the window. There's nothing weird. The newer laptop that she has, she's always like, what is this? Why is this happening?
Why did this disappear?
Right. And so
not to mention the fact that at that point in time, Windows offered complimentary Word or Office.
Oh yeah, now everything is subscription. It's the same thing except for you're paying for it. Nothing is improving. And to work into a word processor, I write on my Mac, and a week ago, before they had an update, I was having major problems with it loading my words. Typing, people. We're talking typing. I'm not a fast typist, okay? Like I'm not quick at all, right?
Yeah, you're not secondary grade.
Oh
okay,
my goodness. And it was like almost unusable to the point where it's just delaying. Like I write one sentence and the circle comes on. Like this is like pushing my operating system right to the limit, because we're not talking about rendering videos in 4K. We're talking about words.
Okay, don't get too excited.
No, but it's insane. To me, if people think that computers are advancing so much and all the things, the future looks great for computers, I just can't stand it, because I'm looking at a computer that's barely able to take the words that I type down and put them on the screen and save them.
Yeah, well, I don't know if there's that many techies enamored with what's coming out now.
I think that there's
I think
more than you
would.
On
that.
I think there's more people than you would think that are still drinking the Kool-Aid, right? I mean, look at AI, right? Another bullshit thing to just generate more income.
And didn't you have a little video prior on
right.
AI as a scam?
AI is a scam, and it is. It's a complete and utter. All they're doing is rebranding. It's procedural generation, right? Procedural generation has been around like since the 70s. Some of the first video games that used graphics used wireframe dungeons that were procedurally generated, right? So like having something that's randomized and procedurally generating music, what's changed is just that they have more memory so that the quality of the sound inside the procedural generation is sounds better. It's more aesthetically, like it's more auditorially pleasing. But the reality is is that even in 1997, I was telling you about this, right? Where this woman was going through this program that was a part of a block of different programs that Microsoft had released. And in one of the programs in that bundle was a procedural generation for music, for kind of like 8-bit music. So the quality of the instruments was simple, basic, sound like crap. But the reality is that it was still taking music theory, right, implanting it into a computer program, and then generating new progressions, novel progressions, change the timing, do whatever. So really, when you got these people out there like, oh yeah, AI is so freaking advanced. Well, the fact that it's stealing people's intellectual property is what makes it good. It's the only thing that makes it good. But
Right.
you got anything? You got anything
still
to add to
waking
that?
up.
I feel like I've been kind of on a rant. You're just kind of like.
I mean, I thought you were a wind-up toy, so I was just going to let you wind out.
But I think another point with computers is it kind of comes back to an age-old problem, which is most people in society, especially when they feel like society has been changing rapidly, have this illusion of progress. That progress is something to be expected. That you're always your society is in a line, and it's always in an upward trajectory, and that's a fantasy. There's nothing to guarantee that things will get better, and in fact, you could say that most often what happens is when your society advances, you get more apathy, more greed, and then more sloven behavior, and people become lazy, and the impetus that drove that progress initially is lost. And then you don't have people to know how the aqueducts work anymore, or you don't have people that can repair the bridge, and society starts going in a downward trajectory. It starts getting more primitive. And so I think you have people that think computers will always get faster, but if you keep on layering more and more on top of these programs, eventually new generation, they don't even know what the building blocks of the systems that they're working on. So if there's any problem with it, do they even have the knowledge to fix it? Are they going to know how to build it up? Because when you start layering decade after decade, more and more advancement, you're constantly complicating it.
I think it could be problematic when they put too much reliance on a computer system in like a jumbo jet, and there's a problem and you have to refer to the manual.
Well, then you'd actually have to prove that
when
they've
you're in
had
the
problems with their
nosedive,
computer systems at some point. Oh, yeah, they have. Things that are simple. If we're advancing so much, we should already be on the moon, by the way. They were saying, yeah, we're going to go back to the moon. It's around now that we're supposed to have people on the moon on a mission. Seems like they kind of abandoned. Actually, I think Elon Musk was saying that we were not only going to be having the first man mission to Mars, but we're actually going to be building a space base out there by now. It's weird how all these things that are perpetrated into the future don't seem to really come to fruition in the same way that they're advertised on that PowerPoint presentation. And you get these people saying, oh yeah, look at how much we've advanced from the 1960s, yet why is it so damn hard for us to replicate what they did in the 1960s?
Well, maybe they didn't actually do it.
Maybe because people were actually more intelligent at that period, and the systems that they did develop were elegantly simple. And now we have complicated systems that have larger numbers, larger memories, larger capacities, but they're so complicated, there's way too many fail points. And this is what we're seeing constantly. They're constantly patching things. You ever notice this? Video games used to come out, the vast majority of them functioned as intended. They used to have to build them as cartridges. So you couldn't just put some bullshit into a program and then print up like 100 million of the cartridges and go, oh, whoops, things are broken now.
You're saying something about the original Game Boy,
right?
And that they're still functional and operational after about 30 years or something like that.
Yeah, and your iPhone that you're buying for like $2,000 is going to be obsolete and non-functional in like 5 years. Whether it's controlled obsolescence or whether, think about this: if you admit that companies do controlled obsolescence, eventually there gets to be a point where an engineer is so used to designing something to fail at a certain point. Is he even going to have the knowledge to build something reliable that could last 100
and
years?
Why don't you talk about that incandescent light bulb that was built in the late 1800s that still
well, yeah,
still works.
If you do your research, you'll see that they purposely designed light bulbs to have filaments that were thin enough that you could guarantee that they would last for maybe 10,000 hours or whatever it was. It's not something that is has to be. It's something that companies are like, we don't make money if we sell you a light bulb that lasts for 1,000 years.
Hey, how about that first pair of nylon stockings that were virtually indestructible?
They had to redesign the nylon formula to make it strong enough to be sellable, but weak enough so that you'd rip a hole in it if you had too long of a toenail. So there's but here's the thing. So if we admit
in a way, I see it as a form of an Atlas Shrugged, where they're starting to pull back all the goodies that they handed people to get them to sort of fall in line.
I think it's also comes down to, though, it's assuming that someone out there knows what's going on. Like most anybody that would watch this video, out of the one or two people that would watch this video, probably out of any of them, none of them would really know in-depth programming. And even most programmers are still only scratching the surface because, well, there's a few reasons, but one is proprietary technologies. So unless you're actually actively working for Intel or you're working for IBM, you're not going to have like the architecture available to you. And this is another problem. How do you train the next generation when you're not giving them all the information right from the start? Because you have corporate greed driving the innovation, right? So now it's more important to give a good presentation, good PowerPoint presentation, than anything else. And people are lapping it up. The more that you get on the bandwagon of AI, the more that you basically justify their scam. You say, well, it pays. Or scamming people pays. Because if you could just put a new trendy term, quantum computing, quantum sounds pretty advanced, doesn't it?
I'm not convinced.
Hey, work for Superman.
I've heard of this quantum mechanics stuff.
Superman does a quantum leap, but he only gets 4 inches off the ground. Hey, man, it was quantum, okay? I mean, come on.
Compared to somebody with a
Superman.
disability, yeah, I guess he did a quantum leap.
So yeah, this is just a rant on computers, but also it extends further
but that's
into
not to
society.
Say that we don't appreciate when something actually does function, like our good Shure mics. Not that we're doing a plug for Shure, but they've always seemed to they've been around for many decades, probably even before the 60s. And they still make quality stuff. I have a pair of headphones that I think I bought like 3 or 4 years ago. I sleep with them on. They land on the floor.
This sounds like a paid advertisement.
But it isn't. And I mean, what we're using right there is a Sony camcorder that's probably about 15, 20 years old.
That's a good example. And you know,
handling it, you can see, wow, everything just slides in, slides out. It just feels like quality.
But that's another thing that's interesting is the amount of demand for some of these older systems that should be ancient and antiquated. People are still using because they may not have the highest numbers, but they function more reliably.
Right.
And at the end of the day, reliability is more important. Most people want a reliable car. They don't want just a Porsche that's going to break down after the first 10,000 miles or something. You know, not everybody has deep pockets like that, and they have jobs that they need to get to.
I still prefer to call it Porsche.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, we can cut it short
think
there.
that's,
I mean,
a
I'm
wrap.
sure that because technology has become a bit of a religion, it's something that people have put on a pedestal. Nobody likes their idols to be torn down. And I can guarantee,
Well, all these things that you're using are part of technology.
yeah, well, it's a part of it just because this is the modern world in which we live in. I mean, I don't use my cell phone to access my bank account because I want to, but because I have to. And there's a big difference. So if we went back to a tactile society, would we be losing that much? I don't know. Take a look at what is on the internet, what people spend most of their time delving into, and I think you'll see that it's pretty damn shallow, and we could easily lose it and retain our souls. Anyways, on that note, have a good one.
Ciao.